We're currently sitting at $2,915. But the reason we are talking about ETH today is because it hit $3,000. And this is a big deal. We haven't been at 3,000 since April of 2022. And that was actually, we were heading on the way down. And so it's been a little while since we've been here, and it's exciting to get back here. I actually have a tweet that I put out back in January where I said that we were going to hit 3,000 by the end of January. Didn't get that right, but directionally was right. It was 20 days off. I'm okay with that. I have no problems there. And currently, I think we're probably going to hit about 4K by the end of this quarter. So I'll go through some of the chart stuff, some of the technical stuff. There is some concern in the markets in terms of leverage, which I will get into. But I think overall, we are continuing to go up by the end of this quarter. And I'm going to talk about why I think that is here. So 4K by the end of Q1, that's my hope. And that's where I think we're going. So let's dive into why we're seeing that. So first of all, let's look at the charts. I've been talking about this ascending channel for a few weeks now, at least. I basically said we needed to reach, 2750, break out of that. And that would really confirm, okay, this bull market is on and it's time for ETH to run. Well, we have since breached that last week, and we've broken through that channel that we've been in since June of, 2022. So basically, since we hit the lows of ETH around 850, we've sort of just been up and down. Now, again, it's a setting channel, so we have been, obviously going up ever since. But really, we want to break out of that channel, and that shows that we're likely going to go more into the parabolic stages, which we have recently broken out of. Now, there's not a lot of technical charts in terms of where we go from here because we haven't been above 3K for too long for Ethereum, but we definitely were in 2021. And so we have some numbers to look at, which is the 3,200 to 3,400 range is probably where we head next. We may consolidate there. We may see some resistance on that one. It's just an area that we sort of spent some time in back in 2021 as well as 2022. So surely we'll hit that at some point, and we might, find some struggles to get through it. Really, after that, though, we don't see much until 4,000. And then after 4,000, it's all-time highs, and then we have nothing from there. So those are sort of the key numbers that we're looking at. Again, from what I'm about to talk about in this episode, I think there's a lot of bullish signals and a lot of demand for ETH that's going to push us through these. Those are just some key numbers that we might see some struggles on at some point before we reach all-time highs. I guess one thing I just want to touch on, which is in terms of these charts, everything looks good. The only thing I would say, and I don't have a chart up for right now, is leverage in the crypto markets is getting pretty high right now. If you look at the open interest charts, we're hitting some pretty ridiculous numbers. And so at some point, that's going to get washed out and we will hit a dip. And that dip will be pretty aggressive because a lot of these people who are levered right now will get liquidated. So I would not be leveraged if I were you right now. Continue to buy spot. I think there's no issues in buying. We're still early on in this cycle. But if you're leveraged right now, I'd be pretty worried, or just be very careful. On the RSI, which is sort of like the momentum of the markets, we are looking just overbought here on the weekly. And on the daily, definitely overbought. On the monthly, we're still okay, but we're definitely reaching some limits in terms of leverage and the momentum here. So are we going to get a pullback? Who knows? We hit 3,000 this morning and we're already back down to 2,900. It's not a big deal. We may see something bigger, but again, I'm just continuing to buy because I think over, the weekly, monthly, we are continuing to go up and up. And the reason for that is the supply and the demand shock that's happening right now with ETH. We're also seeing it in Bitcoin, but I think it's going to be more aggressive in ETH, which is why I'm a lot more bullish on ETH than Bitcoin right now. But what I'm talking about here is, so there's a few things on the ETH side. So one, ETH continues to burn. So it is net deflationary, which I'll show in just a second. We have a lot of ETH that's being staked on an ongoing basis and then ultimately restaked on top of that. And I'm going to talk about why that matters for price here in just a second. And then, of course, we have the potential Ethereum ETFs, which we now can sort of gauge potential results from that from what's happening over in the Bitcoin world. And so all these mean a lot more demand happening for Ethereum, whereas we have a net deflationary number in ETH. So ETH, the amount of supply that's out there is going down, and we actually have less sell pressure, which I'll talk about why that is in just a second. So all this really means that we just have a outstanding amount of demand versus supply. And this generally means that price is going to skyrocket.